Welcome back, college football fans, to the only channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. That is right here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Let me go and turn that off. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. It's great to be back with you once again for another fun-filled episode. And what I've got on tap for you right here, hot off the presses, is my Week 9 preview and picks episode coming at you in just a matter of minutes. So for all of you, whether you are returning or your first time with me here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, thank you for your time, your attention, your support. Without you, none of this is possible. It is an absolute pleasure for me to be here with you week in and week out, sharing my love and passion for all things college football. But I need your help because I want to find more college football fans just like you. So please, if you could do whatever you could to help the channel out, to help it grow and expand, I would appreciate any likes, a share, rate, and subscribe, and especially if I always ask for, welcome, and appreciate your participation and involvement. Please go ahead and get involved. Light up the comment section below in response to any of my opinions, my hot takes, or the facts that I present. And I want to hear from you, whether you agree or disagree. And I promise you that I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later via those comments. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? So it's my usual segment today. Each and every week, I pick 10 games for the upcoming weekend, and of those 10, I always have 4 specialty games. I have an academy game of the week. I have a group of 6 matchup game of the week. I have my Iowa Hawkeye pick any week that my Iowa Hawkeyes take the gridiron, and then I always wrap it up with my spotlight game of the week. All right, last week I went 7-3 overall, not too bad. So overall for the entire season, I'm currently 50 right to 30 losses. So 50 and 30 overall. That's good for a clip of 63%. So I still have a little bit of work to do because my goal for season's end, at the end of the regular season, I wanted to be sitting at 75% or better. So I'm there, but I definitely have got a little bit of work to do. And hey, time is running out. So hopefully I can get another 7-3 or a better record with this week's picks. All right, so let's go ahead and hop right into it. And if this is your first time with me, most of these games you know about, but I definitely pick a couple games that are off the cuff that I believe will be big-time matchups and will matter big time in the long run, not only for conference championship ramifications, but definitely for college football playoff ramifications as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. My first game out of the chute, big-time matchup in the Big 12, especially in the Sunflower State. That's right, I'm talking about the rivalry game. Kansas State travels to in-state rival Kansas. The game takes place in Lawrence. Currently, the Jayhawks are a 3.5-point favorite at home. So how do I see this game playing out? All right, I love both of these programs. I have so much respect for Kansas State as far as the ties to former Iowa assistant coach Bill Schneider and the program that he built there at Kansas State, kind of in the same light and the same way that Iowa built their program under Hayden Fry when Bill Schneider was there. And K-State's had a little bit of a rough season. And Kansas, they've got that brand new renovated stadium. Well, it's not all the way completed, but much nicer stadium there in Lawrence. And I love Jalen Daniels, the quarterback for Kansas. So what do I see? I think Kansas football is not the Kansas football of old. They are no longer just a basketball school. I like the Jayhawks at home. I like them to win, but also to cover that 3.5-point spread. So rock, chalk, Jayhawk, give me Kansas over the Wildcats at home. All right, next game on my list, big, huge tilt in the SEC. Definitely have some playoff and potential SEC title game ramifications lie in the balance. Number 8, Ole Miss travels to Norman, Oklahoma to take on number 13, the Oklahoma Sooners. Currently, Oklahoma is a 5.5-point favorite at home over the visiting Rebels. Ole Miss coming off of a tough loss last week at Georgia. Oklahoma coming off of a solid victory on the road against the Gamecocks in South Carolina. So here's the thing. Ole Miss, they can score points aplenty. I've been telling you guys this the entire season. Ole Miss can basically outscore almost everybody in the entire nation. It just comes down to, can their defense make enough stops? And we saw last week, Georgia absolutely took advantage, and Ole Miss could just not get that Georgia offense off the field, especially in that fourth quarter. Now, Oklahoma, John Mateer looks like he's getting a little bit more comfortable. If you recall, he missed 3 games due to a hand injury, came back against Texas, which ended up being a loss for the Sooners against their rival, the Longhorns of Texas. So what do I think? Well, I definitely like Oklahoma's defense way more than Ole Miss's. Both of these teams can score points, but I just think the Oklahoma crowd, they're in Norman, I think they end up being the difference. I do think it comes down to time of possession and ball control, and I just trust Oklahoma more in many facets than I do Ole Miss. So I like the Sooners to win, but a very, very close game. Give me the Boomer Sooner at home over the Rebels. All right, number 3, big game in the Big Ten. Number 23, Illinois, packs up and travels to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Washington Huskies in Seattle. Currently, the Huskies are a 3.5-point favorite at home. Illinois, are they absolutely still alive in that potential at-large bid for a college football playoff berth? They are. They have 2 losses to this point. Really, but to me, I've been to the 2 best teams in the nation, which they are, Ohio State and Indiana. So Illinois, they really can't afford to trip up anymore. They've got to have that quality win, and this is an opportunity for them, but not going to happen. I'm going with the Huskies at home. We know that ruckus crowd there in Seattle is off the chain. I think they'll get at the Fighting Illini. And what we've seen the last 2 seasons, that when teams have to travel, pack up, and cross numerous time zones like Illinois will from Champaign-Urbana, normally it does not bode well for the visiting team. That's why I am very comfortable and confident. I'm going with the Washington Huskies at home over the Fighting Illini. Next game up on my list, big time game in the Big 12. Number 11 and undefeated BYU. BYU, they travel to Ames to take on the Cyclones of Iowa State. And that BYU team, one of those teams that people keep forgetting about, but yet there they are knocking on the door to enter the top 10, sitting undefeated overall within the, not just in the Big 12, but overall. Iowa State currently is a 2.5-point favorite at home over the visiting Cougars. Iowa State's coming off of a bye, but before that, back-to-back losses, both on the road at Cincinnati and at Colorado. This team is really reeling right now. If they want to get themselves back into the Big 12 title race, they have got to win this game. And I hope they do, because I did pick Iowa State to make the college football playoff preseason. So that's why I am absolutely taking Coach Matt Campbell and his boys. The home team there, Iowa State, I think they do bounce back. They take care of BYU and hand the Cougars their first loss. Give me the Cyclones of Iowa State in this matchup. All right, next game on my list coming up. Another big one. I mean, really at this point in the season, past the halfway point, every game is a big one. And this one, it's no different. Number 3, Texas A&M travels to LSU to take on the Bayou Bengals at home for a true night game in Death Valley South. So we've got the Aggies versus the Tigers. Currently, the LSU Tigers are a 2.5-point underdog at home. I mean, when's the last time that we saw LSU be a home dog in a night game in Baton Rouge. Doesn't happen too often, guys. All right. A&M, they've got a lot of offensive weapons. All right. They can put up points. I'm still a little bit skeptical about their defense and the total balance of this team. I'm not as high on A&M as most people, but I'll tell you one thing about LSU. I am not high at all on their offense, or really I should say lack of offense, really. Garrett Nussmeier, I don't know what's going on with him. He was my preseason Heisman Trophy candidates. Actually, I picked him to be invited to NYC. I had a chance to hoist the Heisman Trophy, but he has completely fallen off. The crowd will keep it close, but this is really going to be an elim game for LSU. I think A&M goes for the kill shot. They'll take care of business. They'll silence the home crowd. I just trust them more than LSU's offense. Give me the visitors from College Station. I'm going with the A&M Aggies. Gig 'em. All right. Next game up, my last game before I get to my specialty games of the week. It is rivalry week. There's a lot of trophies that are going to be played for and titles and bragging rights. I already mentioned Kansas State at Kansas. Big one in the Big Ten. On the line is the Paul Bunyan Trophy. That's right. We've got number 25, Michigan. They travel to take on Michigan State inside East Lansing, the Spartans in Spartan Stadium. Currently, Michigan State is a 14.5-point underdog. Youch. This is a big number, especially for a rivalry game. I definitely expect this to be a much closer game than that. Michigan still kind of is in that potential college football playoff conversation, but they really can't afford to trip up, especially in this game against a very, very mediocre Michigan State team. If I was a betting man and if I played the lines, I would absolutely pick Michigan State to cover. That's a big number. I almost pulled the string on this. I almost picked Michigan State to get it done, but I just can't see that happening. I think Sparty will give the visitors from Ann Arbor all they can handle and more. But ultimately, I'm going with the Michigan Wolverines to get it done in Spartan Stadium against their arch rival. Give me Michigan in this game. All right, now it's time for my 4 specialty games of the week. Now, please like, share, rate, click that notification button, subscribe, and light up that comment section below. Can't wait to hear from you. So my first specialty game of the week, I always have my academy game of the week, and that is a game that includes either Army, Air Force, or Navy. It's my way of saying thank you and saluting the members of our armed forces, both past and present, of this great nation. And this week, I'm highlighting the Navy midshipmen. FAU, Florida Atlantic, travels to Navy to take on the Middies. Currently undefeated Navy, by the way, and stud quarterback Horvath. Navy is a 14-point favorite at home. I see no problem with this. If you recall, if you watched my preseason selections episode, I did select and I picked Navy to represent the group of 6 in the college football playoff. I'm staying with that. So give me Navy big in this matchup. Go Navy. All right, my next specialty game of the week, my group of 6 matchup. And boy, oh boy, this is a huge one. All right, these right now probably are the 2 favorites to punch their ticket and represent the group of 6 in this year's college football playoff field. Number 18, South Florida, victors who defeated group of 6 darling Boise State and also won on the road in the swamp against Florida. They travel to Memphis to take on the Memphis Tigers. Last week, Memphis really dropped a huge game, a big upset for Memphis on the road. They lost to UAB, who just canned their coach earlier that week. Memphis is a 5.5-point underdog at home. I think this is going to be a very, very physical matchup. I mean, Memphis, they've proven to be a good team. They already defeated Arkansas earlier this season. I think there's going to be a lot of points put up. So how do I see this huge game going down? It's hard for me to pick against USF. I mean, they've looked the part, but I like Memphis at home. I know that goes against the grain, but I think last week's upset loss on the road to UAB is really going to inspire them. I think they will get themselves up off the mat. I like the Tigers at home to upset the Bulls of South Florida. Give me the Tigers of Memphis in this matchup. All right, next game up is my Iowa Hawkeye game, a pick of the week. It's another rivalry game. Another great trophy hangs in the balance, and to me, I think it is the greatest rivalry trophy in all of college football. It is the battle for the Divine Swine. That's right, the game for the Floyd of Rosedale Trophy. Minnesota travels to Kinnick Stadium to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Currently, Iowa is an 8.5-point favorite at home. How do I see this game playing out? Both of these teams really share the same type of DNA. They both, first and second, want to win along the lines of scrimmage. First and second, they both want to establish the run game to set up play action. And both of these teams don't mind grabbing you, pulling you into a phone booth and having a rock fight with you. But when we've seen this play out, especially since PJ Fleck, the bald beauty, took over at Minnesota, he's tried to out-Iowa, and it really has not happened. He's had very, very little success against Coach Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes. I like Iowa in this matchup. I think coming off that win last week, the game that I was at, the home victory against Penn State, I think Iowa is finally putting it together. I think they stay on this little run. They take care of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and they retain the coveted Floyd of Rosedale Trophy. Go Hawks in this matchup. All right, now it's time for my specialty game of the week, and a game that how many of us really thought that this was going to be the biggest game of the week? But it is. It's a game that a lot of the local yokels are going to be paying a lot of attention to because I currently reside in the Show Me State of Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, where the home of the University of Missouri is a stone's throw away. Number 15, Missouri, travels to Music City to take on number 10, Vanderbilt. That's right, Vandy football is back. But then again, you have to be here at some point prior to be back. But that's right, Vanderbilt football, a top 10 team. College Game Day from ESPN will be on location in Music City. Currently, Vanderbilt is a 2.5-point favorite. So really, potentially, this is basically just a toss-up game. That's what the experts are telling you. Both of these teams come into this game with one loss, and both against Alabama. Both of them lost close games. Missouri lost to Alabama at home, and Vandy lost at Alabama down in Tuscaloosa. Now, to me, this is not a college football playoff elim game. It's not, all right? Now, yes, the loser really at that point is going to have very, very, very little wiggle room after that. But both of these teams have ample opportunities to still knock off a couple of big-time players and get some quality wins. Missouri still hosts Texas A&M, and they have to travel to Oklahoma. And Vanderbilt next week, even they travel to Austin to take on Texas, and they still have to play Tennessee as well. So definitely not an elim game, but to the winner of this game, you basically can say everything will be in front of them to where even if they stumble once down the stretch, you go 10-2 from the SEC, you're going to get in the college football playoff. So to the winner of this game, really basically you can kind of be in the catbird seat to at least get into the college football playoff. So how do I see this game playing out? I love Missouri's offense. Bo Pribula, the transfer from Penn State. And don't you think Penn State would love to have Bo right there now in Happy Valley after everything that's gone down with Penn State? And Vanderbilt, I mean, must-see TV. You've got Diego Pavia, Superman, the quarterback for the Commodores. I mean, this guy, if you haven't seen him play, you've got to check it out. and this would be the game to watch. I expect Missouri to put up a lot of points. That's what they want to do. But Vanderbilt, they're more of the ball control and ball possession team, to where they want to try to limit Missouri's extra plays, extra possessions. So who is going to win this game? All right, normally in years past, Vanderbilt has never had much of a home field advantage. I think it'll be a little bit more 50-50. I expect a lot of Missouri fans to make the weekend trip down to Nashville to take in this game. Boy, this has been a tough one. I've really had to ponder this game, but I can't go against the boy wonder. I mean, Diego Pavia, he's going to find a way to get it done. This guy leaves everything on the field. I'm telling you, they just didn't execute well down the stretch at Alabama. This team could very easily be undefeated, maybe a top 5 team right now. I just like Vanderbilt at home. I think Missouri will give them everything they want and more. I just think Vanderbilt, behind Diego Pavia, will find a way to pull it out. Anchor down, give me the Commodores in this week's matchup in my spotlight game. Go Vandy. All right, that's it, guys, for my Week 9 preview and picks episode. Please let me know how you think I did. Go ahead and light up that comment section below. Let me know what you think, agree or disagree. Can't wait to hear from you. Now, I will be back Sunday morning with my reaction and recap to the Minnesota and Iowa game, so be looking for that. But if you don't want to take that in, I will be back next week. So until next time, thank you for all of your time, your attention, and everything that you have done for the channel. Enjoy the rest of your week, your school week, your work week. So until next time, take care of yourself, peace, prosperity, and as always, go Hawks. See you soon. Bye-bye.